Libras, be gentle with yourself this August. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello Libras, I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive and welcome to your Transformational Tarot as part of my Black Feather Couture Defining a VIP Life. And this reading I'm so pumped to do for you guys to see what the energies are like for us in August. And we are going to start with an overarching theme card from the Self-Sorcery Oracle from Lisa Lister. And then we are going to pull cards from one of my favorite Kickstarter decks called the Woven Tarot, and it's a collaborative deck. So to be honest, I forget who the collection is, the collectors or the artists that are the collective of artists, but it's a great deck. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so we are going to be getting that overarching theme. And I feel like it's really important. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on this light. It's really important this month, I feel, for you guys to take things a bit easy, to be considered about your path forward. Don't make any rash decisions. I mean, I know Libras are stereotypically known for being, indecisive, but that is a stereotype in a lot of ways too. So, you're capable of making decisions. What this feels like is don't feel bullied into something. Don't feel pressured or rushed into making a decision. It needs to come from the heart. I feel like that's a big aspect of your energy this month. Nourish to flourish. Okay. So I really feel here, like when we're looking at this nourish to flourish, it is about reconnecting to the body. It's reconnecting to the body so that you feel supported in a physical capacity, not just in an emotional and a mental capacity in your life or an energetic capacity. It is about the physical body. And I want to say for about a third of you, beautiful Librans, you're going to have a health concern, a health issue. I don't feel that this is a dun, 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 but I do feel that it is the body as the last resort, trying to get your attention about an unprocessed, I'm hearing unprocessed anger about a situation regarding some unprocessed anger. And this might be a situation where you felt the anger and you decided, you know what, I won't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. And in order to move forward, to go along and get along, I sort of squashed it or I compartmentalized it. I feel like it's festering. And I keep hearing it's like the last straw, or it's the last vestige of something. And once you get to this kernel, this nugget, there's kernel and nugget mixed together is apparently a nuggle. There's a kernel of that anger that has festered and it's stopping you. I feel like you've been looking for, like, what is the obstacle? What is the thing? I've done all the research. I've looked within, I've jumped through the 57,000 hoops to figure out what is stopping me or what is causing me to not be in my creative flow. Why are things being manifested half-assed or not at all in some cases? And I feel like this is the nugget that you're getting to, and it's in the body. The body is going to tell you where it's at. So pay attention to any aches and pains or any, random illnesses that pop up. Pay attention to the area of the body that you're experiencing, because every area of the body represents and is a correlation to something in the emotional and energetic realm. And that is going to be the big key for you. I feel that there's going to be a lot of opportunity to break through, to break out and break free of whatever this is that's been, in essence, holding you back. But I'm definitely feeling here that you have to get to this heart. You have to go through this in order to recognize that you no longer have to go through this. So it is an important aspect of what you're moving out of and moving through. All right, let's take a look at where you are at presently. Where are you at right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Two of Wands. Okay. This is coming up for so many signs this month. And I have to say, whenever it comes up for, more than just two signs, it goes beyond coincidence, right? It is definitely a synchronicity. And so I feel that, there are quite a few of us in the collective that are perhaps going through some of this energy as well. But let's talk about it with you. So Two of Wands is a card of direction. And we see here, this beautiful woman with this long flowing, reddish brown hair, auburn colored hair. And she's got, one wand in her hand, one wand behind her, and she's holding the world or a crystal ball in her hands. She has a star on her forehead. So there's a lot of that intuitive energy that is coming up and coming through. And she is being guided by the peace dove, being guided by spirit, guided by source. What I'm feeling here is you are and have been for quite some time standing on this precipice. You're like, okay, like I see the path before me. I've chosen the direction. I've chosen the path. I've said yes. Why am I still standing here? I'm waiting for the universe to show me the next step. I'm waiting for that, that yes, that validation moment. I've received the validation that the path I've chosen is acceptable, that I am going to be moving forward. So why am I not moving forward? And I feel like this is what August is going to bring to you. When you nourish to flourish, when you adjust and connect with this, then I feel that things start to move. It's not that you've made a wrong choice. And I know, Libras, that you're thinking that. You're like, well, maybe things haven't moved because I didn't, choose the right path. I want to say to you, no, you've chosen the right path. It's taking the universe a little bit longer to orchestrate what is required for you to have complete success in relation to what you're doing and where you're moving. But there's also this obstacle. And again, I feel like it's anger or maybe even resentment that is in there that is festering. And the Two of Wands says, I want to move forward. I agree with your path, but we've got to clear this up first. Otherwise, when you start to walk the path, you're going to get sick on the path. And then you're not going to be successful. You're going to get waylaid on the path. And maybe that path is not going to have the things that you need to heal completely and fully in the way that you can heal completely and fully right now before you actually start on that particular journey. So I'm definitely feeling that for you guys right now, there is a physical component to your choices right now. There's a physical component required to what you are focusing on. Now, the health can also be, like, I want to say, like the physical health or the physical body. It can also be a mental health situation that causes you to have depression in the physical body, or causes you to not be able to provide self-care in the ways that you normally do to the physical body because of the mental state or the emotional state. So understand that when we are talking about the physical, I feel like we're talking about physical manifestations, which includes how we feel, which includes the choices we make in terms of our self-care. So this needs to be a focus this month. I also feel like you guys need to take a break, a news hiatus. If you're watching the news, or if you are, actively involved in, I want to say, something that is a little more what I like to say 3D, out and about in the world, August is, I want to say, the time to just kind of take a break. Pay no attention to what is going on and around you from an external perspective. Anything that you absolutely need to be aware of, trust that you will get that information as needed, and don't seek it out. Be more connected to your soul space. Be more focused on that connection to self and source. The catalyst, what is fueling? Excuse me. What is 3 times the charm? What is fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? All right, you got a second wand. And I think it's interesting. We have the Two of Wands. Now we have the Ace of Wands. So I definitely feel that you are about to burst forth with this creative flow. This is inspired action. This is definitely the I want to say the thing that you've been waiting for. This is the rocket fuel, the ignition. This is you getting ready to go. But aces, they're new beginnings, but they're also it's potential, and it's only potential. Until I always like to say, potential is a nothing burger until you apply it. Wisdom is a nothing burger until you apply it. It's the same thing here. And I feel like this is the catalyst. You're going to have this inspired action. You're going to have this aha moment. And in that aha moment, when you say, the pathway is clear, I'm ready to go, before you step on the path, you've got to check in with your body. Let me prepare. What do I need to do to make sure that my body is good to go? I'm going to use the analogy just because it's coming into my head. If you decide that you want to, hike the Mount Everest, for example, you're not going to just wake up one day and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go and hike Mount Everest, and I'm getting on the plane, and I've got my backpack and I'm going. No, you're going to say, okay, I want to hike Mount Everest. What steps do I need to take to prepare my body? What steps do I need to take to prepare myself in the physical? Because this is a journey. This is not something you just randomly jump into unless you want to set yourself up for a lot of disaster, right? You want to be prepared. So I feel like the Ace of Wands is coming up, that yes, August itself, and I feel like a lot of the engagements that you're going to have on a personal level, as well as I feel like from a career perspective, those engagements are going to fuel you. They're going to give you that, yes, okay, this direction is happening. This choice that I'm having, that I've made already, things are actually starting to move, but I just need to make sure that I've covered all of my bases. This isn't about indecision, and this isn't about it's not the right time. I feel like this is about, let me just check my list. Let me triple check my list and make sure that I've got all of my ducks in a row. And this isn't about, I need to know how everything is going to turn out before I take a step forward. It's not about that. This is okay, I've decided to climb Mount Everest. Here's the best way for me to prepare for that. So I feel like the Ace of Wands leads to a plan. And August itself is going to bring you a lot of guidance around that plan, a lot of things that you hadn't thought about before. People coming out of the woodwork to say, hey, I heard you were doing, this thing. I've got a such and such or a so-and-so that, my son, when he did this several years ago, found it super helpful. And, here you go. Hope you can make use of it. I feel like there are going to be a lot of people coming through to support your path, whether they know that that's your path or not. But it all comes down to how you have prepared yourself, where you are at mentally, emotionally, and physically in regards to this choice. Deep root, what deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? 9 of Cups, yes, wishes fulfilled. Like I said before, in that 2 of Wands, you've said yes to yourself. You've been waiting. You've been like revving the engine in park, going, okay, like we're at the go line. Like, why aren't we going? What's the problem? What's the delay? It's like sitting on a flight. You've boarded the plane. Everybody's on the flight, and you're still sitting on the runway. Like you're even at the runway point, but you're sitting on the runway, for 25 minutes or whatever it is until you're able to take off. Well, what's the delay? What's the holdup? The 9 of Cups, I feel, is coming up and coming through because there's a part of you that is concerned that this is going to be taken away from you. That you're going to put all this time and this energy and this effort in, and you're going to not, in the end, get what you need. Cups puts out the fire, right? Water puts out fire. And I feel like that's the big concern here. That is the wound, is that whenever I think big, whenever I make a decision, whenever I feel really confident in that choice, something always comes up to gum up the works, to shift my focus. I'm really drawn here to the blue jay that is in this card. And blue jays can be very aggressive birds. They're chatty. They talk a lot, which, blue, it's connected to the throat chakra, but they can also be quite aggressive. And I feel like your soul right now just can't handle any level of aggression. It's kind of like you're at a tender point in your energy level where you're like, if one more person says something nasty to me, or if one more person, behaves in an unkind manner, I think I'm going to fall apart. I just can't take it. I can't handle it. And I want to say to you, Libras, you've been through a lot and you are sensitive, and it's okay that you're feeling this way. It's okay that you're like, oh, bracing for that. But I also want to say to you, what we put our focus to is what we manifest. So maybe instead of bracing for that, understand that it's a possibility, but that's not the possibility that you want to put your focus to. And if it does happen, you will have a way to handle it or to deal with it. Or better yet, you talk to your angels and guides and you say, listen, if this potential ends up coming to pass, please make it so easy for me to be able to navigate those waters. Give me the right answer, or have me be in a different place so that I don't have to bear the brunt of all of it, that I'm able to find a more easeful way or peaceful way of moving through the situation. We don't have to suffer to learn lessons and to have our experiences. We do learn, and we do have a lot of growth from through experiences that create suffering, but that's not the only mode of our growth. And it's time now for all of us as a collective to understand that, but you guys especially to understand that, because you're the ones that uphold, justice and fairness. You're the ones who, I want to say, command and demand that, and teach the rest of the zodiac signs how to stand in that space, how to be in relationship with justice, with right and wrong, and the gray areas that are in between all of those things. And so this is a time for you, I want to say, to be able to lead by example and say, okay, I don't have to choose this suffering if that's what comes up. And so by making that choice, by making that statement, by putting that out there, you conserve energy. You say, okay, that's one less thing I have to worry about. That's one less thing I have to, check off the list. It's done. It's handled. And so I can move on to other things. So this is the deep root. This is what you're afraid of. You want it. You want this so badly, and you're afraid to want it because you're worried about, like, is someone going to take it away? Is someone going to be aggressive? Is someone going to ruin, pee on my parade, so to speak? And I feel like this is something that you need to move past, right? Well, you don't need to do anything. I feel like that's what the call is at this time. So what is dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course as a result of this? Page of Wands. Wow. Okay. So you're definitely in a fire energy. So, fire and air go really well together because air fuels the fire, right? Fire enjoys being in air. So it's a delicious match, right? It's a sensible pairing. Page of Wands is really interesting. When we're talking about what is dying away, I feel like what's dying away for you at this point is this idea that there's still so much more for me to learn in this regard, regarding this choice that I'm making, regarding this choice that I've already made, that I'm waiting to move forward with. The Page of Wands, it's interesting. Ace, Two, and Page, they're all very much like starter energies, beginning energies. Page of Wands comes technically not technically, I want to say energetically comes after the Ace, because you have that pure potential thought. Then the Page comes in and says, I wonder if this is something that I can do. And then the Two happens, which is, let's form a plan. Page does the research first to sit in and see how I feel about it. Is this something I want to pursue? And then the plan happens. I feel like what you're releasing here is this idea that there's so much more for you to learn before you can take this path. And I feel like with that Page of Wands energy, even though you're so enthusiastic about what's coming up and coming through, you can keep that enthusiasm, but now it's time to put things in motion, right? And like I said, you've been ready. You're like, okay, I'm not the one who's been stopping me, but yet there has been this anger. So Page of Wands says, all right, time for us to deal with the anger. And notice their wand. It's not fire and flame. It's leaves. It's growth. And I feel like that's really important, because it's you recognizing at this point, I've grown beyond the need to have to light everything on fire or to be afraid of bringing too much fire to a situation. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe my wants are too much. I'm afraid that somebody's going to come and douse the flame. No, no, no. You bring the flame. And this is the opportunity for you to do that. So I feel like you're stepping out of that page energy and you're stepping more, I would say, like, I'll be surprised if you don't get a knight in this reading, because I feel like that's the next level. Is the knight is the actionable part of the plan. It enacts the plan. The knight goes out and is on the quest and starts to do the thing. So you're moving out of this sort of student energy and more into, I want to say, you're doing it. It's practical application. What's your highest phoenix potential? What can rise from the ashes? And what is your soul calling you toward? This is your breakthrough energy. All right, you got two cards that fell out here, and it was a pretty clear fallout. So I'm gonna read them both. The first one here is strength. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I feel like, Libra, you are integrating an ego-related matter. And I feel like the ego-related matter is something you've been working on for about 2 to 3 years. It's a new identity. It's a new approach to your own identity. It has made you stronger, but it has been a journey to release it and to let it go. And I want to say it's been a journey for most of you on the, I'm going to say, on the personal level, in terms of your personal individual relationships, and in particular, friendship bonds. Yes, there's boundary involved in this, but I feel like a lot of you have gone through this. Here's who I was when we first met, when we first connected. And we've both gone through a bunch of different things. We've both grown through a bunch of different things. And so obviously we are in many ways growing together on this journey. But there are some ways where maybe I've not let you in or shared with you where I have changed because it's been so personal. But now is the time for me to have to, sort of come out with that and share this with you, because it is going to affect how we interact, how we engage. And it's all about you and your needs in this regard. But there is this level of needing to communicate it. And strength is a Leo card, right? It's a fire sign card. So again, another nod to the fire, to the energy that you're bringing. You're coming to life. And there's a little fear for you around what that looks like, because you're saying, yes, I am new. I have been reborn. I don't know exactly 100% what that looks like yet, because I'm still figuring it out for myself. But I'm at the point where I'm ready to actually acknowledge that with other people. And I feel like this is sort of what's coming up and coming through, is you're needing to nurture yourself and have some courage to be able to communicate that, to be able to shine your light out into the world without worrying about what everyone else is going to kind of think about it. Let's see what the second card is. Yes, the Fool. So, gosh, like, oh my God. So this is the new journey that you are on. I mean, this is it. You are ready. Again, that Two of Wands. You chose the path. Now you're getting ready to move forward because you're addressing that physical component. You're addressing the fact that your physical body is the vehicle through which you live this life and you have these experiences. So when we're talking about the Fool card coming in here with the strength, it's a journey of your new identity. And you're on it for yourself, but others are taking it with you. Others are joining the journey as well. And you're giving them an invitation to do it. And most of them are going to accept the invitation with, great gratitude and aplomb. But you might find that every once in a while, you're going to extend the invitation, and that invitation is going to be denied, right? Rejected. Understand that it's an energy thing. It's a frequency thing. Anyone that rejects you at this point, they're not rejecting you as a person or the relationship that you've had. They're rejecting the frequency, because the frequency is not compatible any longer. So from that, I want to say that spiritual or that energetic point of view, the Fool is the point, but the Strength is the reason. The Strength is we could call it a catalyst. I don't want to confuse that with our catalyst card. It's the catalyst for the entire journey. So this is the catalyst for August. This is the catalyst for the entire journey. I have a new sense of my ego. I've chosen a new identity, and I'm opening myself to learning that. The Fool card is also the Phoenix Rising card when I talk about my Phoenix phases. So you are in that Phoenix Rising space, and a lot of that Phoenix Rising energy happens when we are throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And it can be a really fun, amazing chapter in your life, and it can also be quite stressful, because this is a time where you don't know, like you're just getting to know this new version of self. So you don't know all the things that are going to work or not work. And so it takes courage to really just sort of step in and say, all right, I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to have all my ducks in a row in order to take this path. I'm no longer a student. Yes, I'm going to be learning things, but I'm prepared for the journey. I'm not the novice mountain climber any longer. I actually have some skill in this game. And so I just need to apply that skill moving forward. Next step. Oh, okay. Yeah, this deck is really speaking to you. What's emerging? What's just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support your next phase? 3 of Coins. So I feel like for you guys, this is a real attention to the detail of how you're feeling and what you are receiving on an intuitive level. All the physical stuff to the side, even though I've said, that's the main focus. I want to say that's the focus so that you can get to this point. And when we're looking at this card in particular, we've got this beautiful raven or crow. I'm going to call it a raven. A raven is able to traverse the underworld, the underbelly of things, as well as, our world, and, flying in the sky into the heavens. So it can pass on messages and information no matter whether you're dealing with the subconscious, the superconscious, or the conscious. And I feel like when we're talking about that next step for you, this is what you've been craving. This is why you've chosen this path in this direction, because you want that connection. You want to understand from an intuitive level how to walk your path and to make it truly work for you so that you're not getting in your own way. And this is about to happen. It's here. It's on the precipice, right? It's just around the corner. But I want to say to you, it's about paying attention to the right details, not getting caught up in the minutia of, like I said, the 3D stuff that's going on. Take the news hiatus, because that detail and that information is not actually going to fuel what this is for you. In fact, it's going to get in the way. It's going to muddy up the works. This says, no, we are doing the subconscious deep dive. Not about the 3D, about the internal. And it's not a subconscious deep dive in a scorpionic way where it's dark and dire and you're sitting in a lot of feels and emotions. No, this feels more like you sent the raven in to get the particular information that you needed. And now that raven has brought that information to you. And you now have 3 pieces of information that you didn't have before. And with that information, the places you'll go. I love that it's also our first coin or first pentacle, in that what is emerging for you is something that is actually going to be tangible. Something that you've thought about, you've put a lot of action towards, and now it's actually coming to pass in the physical world for you. This is something you've been waiting for a really long time. It's now here, or just around the corner, right? And, you know, from a spiritual perspective, just around the corner can mean a lot of different things because our timing and divine timing are often two different things. But I am genuinely feeling that when we're talking about the August energy, I feel like what is transpiring in August brings you to this, right? So this is what you're leaning into. This is what you're working toward at this particular time. What is your role in all of this? How are you navigating this particular transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Four of Wands. So interesting. I feel like this is almost what you're resisting. You're resisting a little bit of ritual. You're resisting a little bit of routine. The reason why you're resisting it again comes back to this Nine of Cups energy. And that Nine of Cups energy says, I'm afraid to wish for too much. I'm afraid for this celebration and this ceremony and this sacred contract to be signed, to come to light, to come into existence. Because what if it gets taken away? You know, something that's just popping into my head with everything that's going on politically in the country. I've really had to question a lot of, like, especially specifically around the naturalized citizenship, and that the current regime is trying to take that away. I am a naturalized citizen. I was born a Canadian citizen, lived in Canada for 20 plus years. But even since I was like little, like still in a high chair, I would always tell my parents that I was born in the wrong country. I always felt such an affinity, such a love for the United States. And where I, sort of grew up is I was on a border city. I lived right across from Detroit, Michigan. So I spent so much time in the US, and I ended up living and working in the US, and eventually so happy to get my citizenship. When it happened, and it took years to get it, and here I am. And to add to that, I knew from a very young age as well, the very first time that I landed in Arizona, that Arizona was a happy place for me. I knew that I wanted to end up here at some point, and I just moved here. And I moved here in September of 2024. I get here, it's like paradise. It's still paradise for me every day. And now we have this citizenship stuff that's coming up. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, so universe, why did you bring me here just to take it away from me? Did you bring it to me so that I could have, somewhat of an experience before I may or may not have to, sort of leave the country? Like, what is the reasoning behind that? And I will tell you, I have had a lot of these feelings of I'm nervous to fully embrace and embody what this is, because there is a fear that it will be taken away. But then I switch it around and I say, but where is my power? If I am a sovereign being, and you Librans are sovereign beings, we have the ability to, number 4 is about manifesting. We have the ability to manifest our dreams, goals, and desires. We need to stick to the vision of what we want our life to look like, and then we need to release any and all attachment and expectation to that outcome, and be open to what the universe is going to provide as the experience that we have manifested. And I feel like that's what this is about for you. This is your role in it, is remembering it is okay for you to lean into this, because this is happening through you and for you. And it's happening so that you can have your highest joy and your purest dreams come to light. But you've got to remember your own power and your own path in the process. What part do I play? You want to play the part of, I happily and willingly sign this sacred contract to my dream, goal, or desire, because I trust and know that this is my birthright. This is my sovereignty. So I feel like the universe is trying to empower you by reminding you of your power and remembering that you get to choose what this is for yourself. Circles of support. I hope that story was helpful, by the way. I didn't mean to prattle on. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now, positively or negatively? The Hanged One. So it's interesting. I feel like because you've been in this sort of suspended animation for quite some time, because you're tired of it, this Hanged Man coming up and coming through is like a kick in the face. It's like a slap in the face or a kick in the gut is actually what I should say, mixing my metaphors. I feel like the Hanged One is coming through. It's trying to come through as a beacon of support and hope. But I feel like how it's being taken in the month of August is, oh, are you kidding me? Not another, delay, not another, okay, yes, we're revving in park and we're getting ready. And now, the track is wet. And so we got to wait, we got to wait another 10 minutes or another 15 minutes. I feel like the key here to use the Hanged One in your circle of support is to really embrace radical acceptance of what is, radical surrender to what is happening. Because when you're radically in surrender, you are in agreement with the universe. You are in agreement with your guides, with source, with your soul. And you are saying, okay, I understand that something is coming to me. And what I need to do right now is be prepared to jump on that and say yes when it arrives. And in the meantime, take advantage of this beautiful gift of time that I have been given. And that feels super important. So support system is, yes, all of this energy, all of this stuff is happening. There is clearly movement forward that's going to be occurring for you. But when you do have this little pause, don't negate it. Don't push it to the side or see it as an annoyance. Instead, say, if this is the last pause I have before everything opens up and I'm like boots on the ground, hit the ground running, what would I like to do with this time? How would I like to get still? How would I like to establish my relationship with source? How would I like to acknowledge my wholeness to the world at large? Not just my community, but to myself as a part of this cosmos. That is how you can make this work for you. Interesting. Hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming? And what scares you about actually doing it? Oh, this one stands out to me right here. Queen of Cups. Yeah. You want to feel happy. You want to feel good. You want to feel comfortable in your own skin. You want to really be in tune with your psychic gifts. And I feel like that goes across the board, no matter, where you're at in your own journey, Libra. I feel that that's the truest desire. If you know your heart, then you can read into other people's hearts. And there is the harmony that you're always seeking. It is a heart-based journey, and I think I mentioned that at the beginning of this reading, that there was kind of a heart-related thing that was popping up. I can't remember exactly what it is that I said. It was before I pulled this card. I feel like this is what is really coming up and coming through. And again, I want to say, broken record, it's okay for you to lean into this. Queens are all about structure, organization, and delegation. And in this case, it's structure, organization, and delegation around your ocean of emotion, around that psychic guidance, around that intuition. And again, I feel like you're no longer the page. You might not be the queen yet, but the queen is coming up and coming through to support you. The queen sends the knight off on the journey. And so this is your hope. Your hope is that you get this level of support, that you get the okay to move forward. And I want to say to you, you got to give yourself the okay. It's not that you're waiting for it. What you're waiting on from the universe is the orchestration of all of the moving parts so that you can have the successful experience that you're choosing to have. That is how that comes into the mix. But you absolutely can lean in and say, yes, this is still what it is that I want. Yeah, I feel like it's as simple as not always easy, but it's as simple as that. Outcome. This is your outcome for this transformation in August. If you stay the course, Who will you be on the other side of this journey? What is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? Oh my God, I love it. Queen of Wands. So we didn't get a knight. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a knight at all or not, but we've got two queens and two queens back to back. So if you ever watch Chris Minopond, he's so hilarious and I love his tarot readings. He's always really spot on. I've been watching him for years and he's really helped me through a lot of challenging times. He talks about whenever two cards show up in succession, it's the universe saying, I meant what I said. I do feel that that's what's kind of transpiring. You want to be the Queen of Cups, but really you want to be the Queen of Wands, which is you're in your own sovereignty, doing your own thing. You know, this is a card of, I like to say, like the entrepreneur, right? The badass who says, I don't have a security blanket underneath me. All the other queens do. All the other kings do. Everybody seems to have all the things that they need. And yet, when I go forward and I choose a path, there's always that calculated risk. I'm not able to fully, throw myself into the mix quite in the way I'd like to. There's always some kind of, caveat. And I feel like the Queen of Wands coming up in the outcome for you is saying, I'm throwing out that caveat because the Queen of Wands doesn't have the security blanket, and yet she goes ahead and does it anyway. And she's always successful. The sunflowers are heliotropic, so they follow the light of the sun. They follow the heat. And I feel like the Queen of Wands, this is what you're stepping into, especially with all this wand energy that has come through your reading. You want to follow the light. You want to follow the sun. And I feel like that's exactly the direction that you're taking. There's going to be a tangible way to do this, a tangible path forward. And you are owning it. You don't need anyone's permission to do, be, and have what you have chosen to do, be, and have. August is going to bring a lot of this. I also feel like when I'm noticing the skulls here, August is also going to bring a little bit of death. And I don't mean death of people. I feel like it's in some ways the death of the way the dream was going to be realized. And you're letting that go so that you can open up to the new dream. And it does feel like it is new. The path that you've chosen, it's not that that path is old or bad or wrong. You're choosing the path, it's opening up for you. But because it's opening up for you, you're going to actually start to see that there's more there than what you originally anticipated. Not that that's a bad thing. It just means that, oh, okay, this might actually take me a little longer to explore. This is really fun now. And it's okay for me to step in and to follow this light, to follow the light of my own soul, because my own soul is ready to be realized. Wow. All right, Libra, that is your transformational tarot reading for the month of August. And for those of you who are new to me, you may or may not know that I also do private readings and private sessions. So if you are, running into some issues with this and you really could use some support or guidance or maybe some help on that direction or that release that is occurring, I'm your girl. I would love to be of service. Feel free to book a session in the link in the description below. Otherwise, I hope you guys have the most amazing month. Transform well, and we will see you on the flip side.